Let me be real with you. If you think telling a woman she's beautiful is going to make her feel something, anything, you've been lied to. And I say that as a woman, a coach, and someone who spent years listening to both sides of this broken conversation between men and women. My name is Jane. You can call me Coach Jane. I've seen too many good men confused, frustrated, asking, why didn't she respond? Why did she pull away after I was so nice to her? It's because you said the same thing 10 other guys said that week. You're gorgeous. You have the most beautiful smile. Wow, you're stunning. And just like that, she forgot you. Not because you weren't sincere, but because your words didn't touch anything deeper than the surface. Now, stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to flip that entire script, how to speak in a way that doesn't just flatter her, but pulls her in emotionally. These are what I call forbidden compliments. They don't praise what's obvious. They speak to the part of her no one else even tries to reach. I remember a man I coached, Marcus. He was tall, charming, had a decent job. Women noticed him, but they never stayed. He kept saying, Jane, I compliment them. I treat them right. What am I doing wrong? And I asked him one thing. When you compliment her, who are you really trying to impress? Her or yourself? He went quiet because most compliments come from a place of performance, not connection. They're about being liked, not about seeing someone. And let me tell you this from a woman's perspective. When a man says something I've heard 100 times, it might make me smile, but it never makes me feel. Not really. But when a man looks at me and says, there's something about you I can't quite figure out, my breath catches. Not because he's being poetic, but because in that moment, I don't know if he's drawn to my looks, my energy, my mind, and that uncertainty. It's electric. That's the first forbidden compliment I teach my clients. Let me break it down. There's something about you I can't quite figure out. It's vague, but intentional. It sparks curiosity without giving away your hand. It forces her to wonder, what did he notice? And it makes you stand out from every other guy who led with you have pretty eyes. You're not feeding her ego. You're stirring her imagination. And here's the secret. When a woman starts to wonder what you see in her, she starts paying attention to you differently. She starts thinking about your tone, your look, your silence. And she starts investing in the moment because now she's part of the mystery. Let me give you a woman's lens on this. We've been complimented our entire lives. Some of us since we were 13, pretty hair, nice legs, beautiful smile. It becomes background noise. But the things we rarely hear, the ones that strike our soul, not just our looks, those are the words we carry with us for years. I still remember a guy I dated briefly in college who once told me, I feel like you have a storm behind your smile. We never even got serious, but to this day, I remember that line, not because it flattered me, but because it saw me. That's what forbidden compliments do. Let's pause here, because if this already feels different to you, if you are realizing maybe you've been saying the wrong things without meaning to, good. That means you're coachable. It means you care. And trust me, a woman can feel the difference between a man who's desperate for attention and one who's learning how to hold hers. So if you're ready, I'll show you 2 more phrases in the next section that unlock even deeper levels of emotional connection. But first, if this is hitting you somewhere real, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a heart in the comments, and subscribe. Because the more you learn this language, the more women will start responding to you in ways you never imagined. Beautiful. Let's keep the energy flowing. Let's get something straight. When you learn how to speak to a woman, not just at her, you stop being just another face in the crowd. You become a moment, a feeling. You become unforgettable. Now, let's talk about the second forbidden compliment. It's this: I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see. That one, it disarms her. Because suddenly, you're not reacting to the version of herself that she performs for the world. You're reaching for the version of her she protects. And if she believes, for even a second, that you can sense that side, everything shifts. I want to take you into a moment from one of my private coaching sessions. I had a woman named Tasha, 34, divorced, emotionally guarded. She told me, Jane, I'm tired of being seen as just hot. No one ever talks to the part of me that feels like an artist, like a mom, like a soul. I remember sitting there thinking, most men would never know that's what she wanted, 'cause she'd never tell them. But a compliment like this, I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see. It invites her to show it, not by prying, not by pushing, but by offering a rare kind of emotional permission. And let me tell you something, most women don't get that. They don't get the safety to be soft, to be layered, to be seen. Because too many men are in a rush to label her. Too many are trying to impress her, seduce her, or control the narrative. But when a man slows down enough to say something like that, he becomes the first breath of fresh air she's had in years. And here's the psychological trick behind it. It doesn't tell her what you think. It tells her what others don't see. That line sets you apart because it communicates two powerful truths. One, you're not impressed by the version she gives everyone. Two, you're curious about what's behind the curtain. Women crave curiosity more than approval. Let that sink in. Because when she senses your attention is layered, not just you're hot, but I sense something deeper in you. You shift from being another guy chasing her to someone she's quietly chasing back. And this brings us to the third forbidden compliment. You ready? Here it is. I can't decide if you're trouble or exactly what I need. Now this one, it's like emotional dynamite wrapped in silk because it does two things at once. It implies danger, which is exciting, and it suggests depth, which is magnetic. This compliment walks the line. It creates tension, the good kind, the kind that makes her lean in. She'll smile when she hears it, but then she'll replay it in her head, wondering what you meant. Am I trouble? Am I what he needs? What is it about me that made him say that? And that's where the emotional hook sets in. Because now you're not the one trying to figure her out. She's trying to figure herself out through your words. Let me give you a real world moment. I once dated a man who looked me in the eye and said that exact phrase. I can't decide if you're trouble or exactly what I need. Let me tell you what happened. I laughed, I blushed, I played it off, but that night, I stared at the ceiling wondering what he meant. I thought about how I carry both softness and chaos, how I'm both nurturing and wild, how no man had ever seen both parts of me and loved me for it. That line touched something in me I didn't even know needed to be touched. And you know what? It made me want him. Not because he was perfect, but because he spoke the language of my duality, the part of me I hide from the world, and that's the key. Most men either put a woman on a pedestal, or they try to pull her down to a level they feel safe with. But when you show her that you can hold both her light and her shadow without judgment, she starts to open in ways she didn't know were possible. She laughs louder. She tells you stories she's never told. She lingers in your presence just a little longer. Why? Because you made her feel like a whole woman, not just a beautiful object or a stereotype. And I promise you this: when a woman feels whole with you, she won't want to leave. Let's breathe for a second, because I know some of you are listening, feeling like, Jane, no one ever taught me this. I've been saying the same basic compliments my whole life. And you know what? That's okay. That's what I'm here for. You weren't taught how to speak to the heart of a woman. You were taught to impress, to chase, to flatter. But that ends today, because from here on out, you're learning the language of emotional intimacy, the kind that doesn't just turn her on, but turns her soul towards you. And there's nothing more powerful than that. Fantastic. Let's bring it home. Now let's talk about something most men overlook completely. It's not just the words, it's how you deliver them. Because you can say, there's something about you I can't quite figure out. But if your tone is insecure or your eyes dart away too quickly, the magic disappears. Confidence isn't in volume, it's in stillness. When you say one of these forbidden compliments, pause. Let the silence do the work. That half second of tension, it's where her mind fills in the blanks, where her heart starts beating a little faster. Let me walk you through this visually. You're sitting across from her, maybe at a coffee shop. She laughs at something, and instead of jumping in to say, "You're so cute," you lean in slightly, tilt your head, and say, "I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see." Then you pause. You let the energy land. She won't know what to say at first. She'll probably smile, maybe look down. And that's your cue not to explain, not to clarify. Just hold the gaze. You've just made her feel seen. Not because you dissected her, but because you noticed her. And most importantly, you didn't demand a reaction. You created space. That's what these phrases do when done right. They invite her into the moment instead of trying to impress her with one. Let me say this clearly. Mystery is powerful. And not just the kind where you're being vague or hard to get. I mean the kind where you let her wonder about you and about herself. Most men talk too much. They try to fill every silence with stories or compliments. They over-explain, trying to prove they're interesting. But a woman doesn't fall for a man who's always talking. She falls for the one who listens differently, who observes the little things, who gives her space to reveal parts of herself she usually hides. That's what makes you unforgettable. And if you're thinking, Jane, how do I even know when to use these lines? Here's the truth. You don't wait for a perfect moment. You use them when you feel the energy shift, when she drops her guard just a little, when the conversation turns slightly more personal, when her smile lingers longer than usual. That's your moment. These aren't pickup lines. They're invitations. You're not trying to win her over. You're offering her a space where she can be fully seen. I had a man once say to me, Jane, I don't want to manipulate women. I just want to connect for real. And I said, then stop trying to say what you think she wants to hear. Say what only you could say, what only you notice. You want to know the real power? It's not in sounding smooth. It's in sounding sincere. It's in slowing down, being present, and letting your words mean something. Let me give you one last secret. The real magic isn't even in the compliments. It's in what happens after. It's in how she texts you later, out of nowhere. I've been thinking about what you said. It's in how she leans into you the next time you speak, how she opens up, how her voice softens when she sees you, because you became a trigger for safety, a mirror, a quiet challenge. And that's more intoxicating than any line you'll ever say. So, here's my challenge to you. Tonight or tomorrow, or the next time you're with a woman you admire, don't compliment her looks. Don't say what she's heard 100 times. Say something that makes her stop and feel. Something like, you carry yourself like someone who's been through a lot, but hasn't let it harden her. There's a calm in you that makes everything feel a little safer. You seem like someone who knows what people need, even if they don't. None of those lines are obvious, but they're real, and real is rare. Before we close, let me tell you something important. The reason these phrases work isn't because they manipulate, it's because they honor her depth. And when you approach a woman from a place of genuine curiosity, when you see her complexity, not just her beauty, you become the exception in a world full of copy-paste attention. You become the man she can't stop thinking about, not because you chased her, but because you awakened her. If this spoke to you, if you're ready to stop blending in and start connecting on a whole new level, drop a heart in the comments. Let Jane know you're listening. Let yourself be seen too. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because this is just the beginning. We're going deep. We're decoding the female mind for real. And I'm going to walk you through every twist, turn, and emotional trigger so you never get lost again. This is Ask the Real Jane. And baby, now you know the truth behind what really makes a woman melt.